Alright guys, welcome back to another MCreator tutorial. So today what I'm going to be covering is the time blocks that are in the MCreator procedure thing. In some cases you might want to actually use one of these for spacing out certain times. This can be done for things like if you want something to run each second, each minute, something like that. This will be running on the computer that is actually running the game. So if I were to open it up to LAN, then basically this computer that I'm on is going to be the one with the time blocks. So it's not going to affect multiple clients. It's just going to be affecting the computer that it's running on. Basically, it's going to be running on server side, basically. So what that means is I'm only going to be running the time blocks based on the computer that is actually running the game from. So this includes servers, LANs, single player. All those will basically run on the server side for whatever the computer time is. So, well, computer time ND. So with that being said, there is just some demonstrations of how it works. So we have the seconds block or timer. As you can see, it's at 49, 50, 51. This is getting the time from my computer. And then if we were to go ahead and type my time, because that's what I wanted, then we can go with minute. And we can see that the computer time is 9:59 and 9:51, and the time on the screen is 51 for the minutes. So this will update every minute, so we'll just wait for that quickly to update. I think it just changed, so it might be a minute or so. Then we have hours and believe days and stuff like that too. Now there is some different things to keep in mind when I get into more details. Seconds range from 0 to 63, so it isn't 1 to 64 or 60. It's actually that might be wrong. Pardon me. 0 to 59. So it's from 0 to 59 for seconds and minutes, and then hours are from 0 to 23 because 24 would be where it carries over. And then days are a little bit different. They range from 1 to either 31, 30, 29, or 28, depending on the month, and if it's a leap year or not. And then you have week, which will range from 1 to 7. So the last one is month, which is 0 to 11, depending on what month. It starts in January, so 0 would be January, 11 would be the 11th month. So there's all those to take into consideration. The year can be anything. You can get the year, you can subtract the year, all that other stuff. But basically what the year will do is it can be anything that it could possibly be. It's I've put it in the negatives before, so it basically works as just a variable to get the date, and then you can change it. There's no actual requirement for it, as far as I can tell. So let's take a look at the hour. So we'll just type in hour, and it is currently 9 in the morning for me, so that's why it's at 9. It should go up to I believe 23 from what I remember. So, and then let's try the day. So the day is the 26th, so day after Christmas. And then what we have is week, which is a little bit down further. So currently it's Monday that I'm recording this video, so it's the second day of the week. Sunday is when the first day happens. So oddly enough, Sunday yesterday was Christmas, but it was also the first day of the week, which is kind of pretty cool. And then we have month. So the month is 11, so it's December. And then we have the year. So the year is down here. It is 2022. So all those are basically what it prints out from the values to strings. So if we want to look at the other blocks that you can get from, there are a couple other string blocks. If we just run this one right here for text, we can get more detailed information about the time. For example, it's Monday, December 26th at 9:54 at 38 Pacific Time Standard 2022. And then we have the date, just the date specifically down here. So 2022-12. And this isn't going to be 11 because it's a little bit different than the number blocks. So keep that in mind. And then there is the date that it's currently at. So let's go into the procedure, and I'll just kind of cover which blocks are which because they can be a little bit confusing. All right. So I'll be providing this workspace so you guys can kind of figure out how everything works. I just set up a quick command and then just something to toggle the actual display for the action. The output is basically just where everything gets piled into something that can be visually displayed, and then the date and date time strings is where that string commands actually came into play in the chat box. So that's basically all that it is. This is just basically toggling a local variable or pardon me, global variable, so I could basically just display it. This would actually be for every player though, so it's not just for a single player. Now remember that the time will be based on the computer running the game. So if it's a server, it's going to be running from the server. If it's LAN, then it's going to be running from the person that's hosting the LAN. So keep that in mind when you're actually running this. Okay, so let's look at the time blocks. We'll just set up a quick procedure, just call it something, and then we'll take a look at the date and time tab down here. It's under where flow control, logic, math, text, and there's date and time. So if we open up this, we have some different options. Now they're categorized in basically the order how it would be based on the how it would be for the system. So seconds are right up here. So you would use this for seconds. That one would be minutes. This would be hours. This would be the week, the month, and then we have this would be the day. So week, day, month, and then year. So this would be the year one. And then after that, we have the time as text. You can't really customize this particular one. So that's all you can really get is that top one that we basically printed out with a Pacific's time standard and stuff like that in game. It's nothing fancy, it's just what it is. So you could technically replace some of that stuff and format it, but you would need to know what to replace. There is, however, a time as formatted text, which you can edit. I'm not sure if you can add different versions of it, but you can basically use rearrange these days, like the letters around and stuff like that for sure. I'm not sure if it would play in with time or anything like that. I think it's just the date, so I'm not sure if you can actually print out the time or anything like that with that, but you could definitely rearrange the day, month, and year if you wanted to. All right, so that's basically it. That's all the blocks. These are obviously number ones, so if you would use these with numbers. So if you wanted to make a timer or something like that, you could basically do that with testing for something like if time is, for example, if you wanted to test something for every minute, then what you could do is get a time block, and then you could test for seconds if seconds are equal to 0, and maybe run this from a world tick update or something like that. And then what this would do is it's only going to have the world dependencies, so it should be fine the way it is, and you just basically do something based on that action. So maybe you would want to set a global variable or something like that, so you could use it in other script. So we would just set a global variable, and there you go, it would be set up for that particular output. So this would happen every time the seconds got to 0. As some other examples, you might want something to do every hour. So for example, we could do minutes instead, and that would run every hour. Maybe you wanted something to run every day on the 25th. So what you would do is you go get day of the month and set this to 25, and every 25th of the month, so every month on the 25th, it will basically run this variable if the game is loaded on that day. So again, if it's a server, it's constantly running, this will obviously check every month, like it will happen every month. But if the player doesn't go on to the game on the 25th, then it's going to totally bypass this, as it's only going to be testing for the day when the game's actually loaded. So it's not going to be running, obviously, if the server or player is not on that day. So keep that in mind when you're actually making your scripts. But if you're working with seconds and minutes, then that should be more compatible. Even hours, but hours are a little bit higher. But keep that in mind when you're working with it, and you should be good to go. Outside of that, I'll provide the workspace here for you guys to kind of play around with that script that I have. It's just basically variables that are cycling through, and then we're basically testing for that. The output just basically gets the output and then puts it into a string for the message. So it basically just copies the value from that over. So that's basically all that's happening. Outside of that, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, rate the video, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.